Hello. Hello, YouTube. Look at all this quinoa. Okay. This is millet. This is buckwheat. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I need from here. Okay. So let's take a look at the recipe. Now we're gonna have to adjust because we have a certain amount of millet and a certain amount of quinoa. And quinoa is the most. So we're gonna change the millet to a half cup. We're gonna change the buckwheat to a half cup. And everything else is gonna be the same, I think. And my Vitamix is kind of broken, so we don't want it to be over 5 cups. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4 cups of material, so that's fine. All right, and I put the ingredients in a certain order so as to have the liquid materials more first. This way I don't have to use the tamper as much. The tamper is another word for the plunger. You know? You'll see once the Vitamix gets going how, you know, it's not really working that well. All right. Is that a good angle though? Let's see. Kind of want the table here. Get everything in there. So start with the sea moss. Start with a half cup sea moss. All right, next we got 2 tablespoons chia. 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 All right, next. Half cup of pumpkin seed. You know what, I'm gonna make that a third of a cup because I'm looking at the pumpkin seed and I wanna make sure that I have enough. So we put a third of a cup right there. This next half cup is gonna be buckwheat. this. We'll get the half cup buckwheat. Matter of fact, I think we're going to actually go 2/3 of a cup buckwheat. Two-thirds of a cup buckwheat. I'm going to write that down. Okay. Now over here, okay, so maybe this is actually going to be the best angle over here. Alright, I guess that's the best we could do right now. Okay, so let me turn this so I can see a little better. Buckwheat, pumpkin. Okay, so now over here is kabocha squash. Kabocha squash. So yummy. So yummy by itself, and I started using the pumpkin instead of zucchini. Zucchini is a little more watery. The kabocha. If I wasn't fasting, I would steam this up. Oh yeah, eat this. Eat the kabocha. Okay, so I'm good. Hey, Dad.
Yeah. I'm just picking up the kids now, I guess. 1 o'clock.
Oh, yeah?
So you come over, yeah. If you want to come over, we're here. She'll probably be home in a half hour or so, 45 minutes. Unless she stops somewhere.
Okay.
Okay? All right, I'll see you later.
Thanks. All right. Getting visitation today. Yay. So, what I'll do is, make some tea. All right, and now I'm gonna need a one cup of kabocha. All right. Cup kabocha. 1 cup quinoa. And a half cup millet. So here's the millet. Here's the quinoa. All right, where are we at? Salt, yeast, teaspoon of each. Here's a teaspoon. Salt, yeast, and sodium bicarbonate. AKA baking soda. Alright, so let's see how she blends. I might have to buy a blender because it's not good. Okay. It happened. It worked somehow. So this is a giant bowl. And this is what I'm going to use. So, let's see, I'll put it over here. All right. Spatula. Okay.
And so verbs, which is like from, is very direct because you'd say you're from your mother, of course, everybody would, and then you could say you're from the land, that's true. And so bodies that form from, these are where the people bodies of is more a fiction and coming from a fiction. And so it's a lower order type of thing, you see, with some document is. And so you and I, we could say, comes now, and coming from the land. And this is venue to, so that any charge could be revenued back as revenue to the people. That's what that word means. And also, to republic also is to republic the debt, so that it's positively inducted currency, so there is no debt. So this is the golden age which we move to, because everybody is under an agentic state and they want to do what's logical. And it's, otherwise you've got to up against a big corporation that, like a criminal banking cartel of one world order, where you've got a big corp strategic alliance that's going on, always behind some land grab, and all the ships and equipment doesn't fit a picture of being up against a small religious group that was funded the same as the state was. Something else is really a big West agenda for the few, and a big agenda 2030, in other words, and to fit into, get into these bird cages, the smart cities inside. If most people is told that you'd be just some pet, like a hamster inside, and a rich person could own that bird cage.
buckwheat.
Isn't for anything you and I would have come up with, for sure. Yeah. But obviously, of course, you see criminal pattern going on, and it is under a legal toolbox. So how did it occur? Well, it occurred because, just like I said, the title isn't introduced where it will be and is and should be. This is the fourth estate. This is above the gubernation. To guber meaning to control, and nation or ment is the mind. So it's how would you conduct yourself, more or less, and that's sort of what governance is. And the fourth estate is we're the people.
Just going down the list. Cut quinoa.
And so join the real work is where words are like from in a document versus of. And words in a smart contract can only work with a real verb and a real noun. And so the word is in the document. It says is as a verb. I mean, where is doesn't exist, it's like what's going on with that, and so a body politic could have formed, and that body politic really like a Christian group, or some religious group, or a political party, and these groups are very loosely tied to the land, but they're not from the land. To be from the land, they have to be selected by we the people, which is a common law court of equal trial by the jury process, and that's like an Article 4 or Article 3 types of court where you're looking at contract, or you're looking at tyranny, or you're looking really at government transgression. And everybody cares, of course, that people in government and families and everybody is protected. And it's the fourth estate that looks at all this and sees what needs to be and corrects the things which can be, and can discharge the charges of genocide and those sorts of things.
Sheesh.
And can clear up, the matter of that legal toolbox where someone no longer was the governor and executor of their own affairs, and was only given an instant to speak to count, which didn't infer any natural right to come from it itself, and purposely done so that all like Palestinians in the world, or even Ukrainian men, which maybe some 17,000 went through the meat grinder in the last 4 weeks. Ongoing under a legal toolbox, you've got a common law trespass and a legal name for it, and those two crimes easy to prove because there's this documentary prima facie evidence, and they can be non-controvertible because it's sort of something which has been known. So it's a misnomer, how it could be that you look at how do you count who's a casualty of war, which by death or murder, and what's legal about what that is. So it's really totally sort of unlawful. It's accepted, of course, that you've got these big corp strategic alliance behind land grabs that's going on, and where really isn't anything sovereign at all. It's just this a criminal banking cartel of one world order group. And it's accepted, of course, that legally, yet not lawfully, have civilians, like in Gaza or anywhere, or like in the war that's been going on in Ukraine and other places, casualties, and Myanmar, where the Rohingya are stateless. And so couldn't anybody say that where they are, there's degrees of fascism, because when you mix, you can't put the dead, which is a fictional body, in with the living. You can join the living with the living, and this is the fourth estate. This is what's above government. This is what's above all corporations, which only can use verbs like of. And so, how you join words together as what's the substantial relation between a noun and a verb. Something can be causative more as a verb, or just joined together with a word like and, which is weakly joining things, not like cause and effect like as would be, or if or while. And so those are ways to join ideas more together. It's a conjunctive word that's used. Anyway, if you've got a military government objective, apparently, civilian death, by the court, that's something over a long period of time, where all these ICBMs warehoused and everything, it would be a sponge area because they had to locate them where population wouldn't be, because it's the first sort of place that sort of is attacked where a nation is. And so those that would all live in and around that sponge area, it would be just automatically acceptable that they're in an area that's far more dangerous, let's say, because that sort of tactic of putting yourself into what's called a sponge area. You're looking at a range of things is just a metaphor for.
Okay, we had sea moss, we had chia.
Oh, well, I was only going to say that, the whole world is sort of under a narrative, isn't it? I mean, we always would be, and it's sort of the best narrative, really. That's all. And until some better narrative comes along, of course, which is what we have. We've got a solution that can clear up war in 24 hours. So little things, something small, and everything is about that more than anything else, really. It's the title, which I've been keep talking about, but I wonder if anybody knows what the meaning of title is, because your title as a species, and it's called a hierarchical logical typing of information, and it's called a taxonomy. It means that you've got a subject which is an epistemology, and they have a hierarchy of the logical type information underneath that subject. And your identity, somebody could really study that, because they say I or you all the time, but they have no idea who I or you is. And so that's what I've taught all my life, basically, since I learned this. It's called the Papa Holograms. But it's all about unity consciousness, and you really learn how to keep your focus on unity, and you keep your focus on the future in a being that's simple, soft. You've got nothing about the past that is entertained, because you can't pass it on, and it's going to carry nothing with tomorrow. Yesterday doesn't carry nothing with tomorrow or whatever. But your experience, where someone is, what eye awareness is not anything that they see. Yeah? When you know who I is not possible to sense anything. The body is for sure, but I isn't. I can have a witnessing of things. So it's your development where you are, where anyone else's, to have a practice of having this stellar. If you know what stellar means, it means universe beyond universe, and that's I, and it's a very small space of no distance. When I say contact, because it's a small pixelated dot in space, which all is connected, you see. So, but in I, and so before you were born or anyone else, I exists, and it's in a cloud bank of the ether of the living, energetic quanta. And that I is a background, and it wasn't born or would never die, and it's eternal. And 50% of yourself as you go through life is from your source, which is, everything else that's is like a body in space, and is your whole body. Like the moon and the sun are organs of yourself. And being already deep inside it, in the path-and-trace systems, you're really moving more simply. Others could simply live, but it's the difference between people that isn't separate at all, but distinction. But that distinction doesn't separate anybody either, because no one should be wandering around trying to find someone superior because they're coming from something inferior themselves. But on a level of, yours or mine or anyone's attitude they have inside, that could be very unique. Also, one's focus, in life. And so where I is empty, like empty space, and M is simply care or matter. And after that, this is absolute. You could be aware of what this is, but everything else is sort of something more fictional. But the title is man, that's our species. So, woman, that's our species. The drive hall, that's not your species. And the natural light doesn't come from a drive hall. It does, because you've got a real true name, and that's just, lowercase, and it's your family name, and the name you know, and it's one word, because it describes a noun. You can't have two words to describe a noun. You could have two words to describe a pronoun, meaning not a noun. And so, when somebody uses a word like I or you, most people are very clouded, and our ability to be functionally plastic inside in the brain, that requires sort of interest and pleasure. So somebody presents things, that's a new mindset. And so they practice sort of outwardly meditation, being in a new mindset. Before the point of it, all that writing and all our work has a lot to do with that the body can feel all emotions as states, and that's excellent, not to be stuck somewhere, but every single emotion has some excellence. And that I is not the mind. Those are the things which we just talked about, which is the mind, and I isn't the mind. I can be aware of the mind, but the mind being empty, more in being. So otherwise everything else which is in the mind is sort of a state, but it's not being. It's sort of fictional. So this who is real is aware of perception, and this is someone living. And the living can't be put into a category of the dead. A dead meaning a fictional character, fictional sort of like a chair or a desk, a piece of furniture, as you tell. And your account or anybody else's can't be where an issue is an account per se of itself, where you're living. And so where people have mixed up the living with what government. And the fourth estate is eye awareness. It's where you're simply a witness, or still silent and transparent, and you're correcting the things which need to be corrected. Simple, that's all. And that is a chain of command where things are. Government is below we're the people. And only government is because it's there to protect private property, period. Otherwise, there's no other reason for government. And so, desire and fear where people are kind of driven them into all kinds of sins that they're going without they even thought about it. But if you look earnestly, take time that somebody could come to clear away all desire and all fear, because of the things which is held everyone back, not from being able to be in the present, which is a void. It's something which can't analyse. It's something you can't be going over the top of it. You could be receptive, and the only way that you can do that is to be more empty in the moment. And so it's an outward lived, onward going meditation versus some moment somebody's turned something on and turned something off. But it's ongoing because it's skills which somebody develops and have good people skills and have good ability to self-initiate and partner and team build. And none of it is you the doer. This is something which what we're talking about is something natural, and that where error is in the world, because of things with what we're talking about right now, means like something sewing or addition, and so it's not so easy to pick a pattern out of a cerebrogram, for instance, where younger brain can so easily do that, older brains can't, because they're doing things in their brain, and that the brain's no longer receptive like it could but should be. And so eye awareness more is an omnipresent state, and this is the fourth estate. This is above government, and this is what could change, stop, start, and has the power of seizure, and it's only pre-authorised and pre-ordered by government. And so, this is like an Article 4 or Article 3 court in the United States, and it's like a king's bench in the other Commonwealth countries and things. And it's a process which one would look into, and it's a really beautiful process because it's the only process which is sovereign, because nobody there has got any conflicted interest whatsoever. And so, it's just four of these, as one of the people showed you earlier, where something is, and so that something becomes a true bill before they just sort of present, and you're looking to see what can exist. And there's different types of common law, court of equal property, grand jury process. Another one would be like an indictment, which is a true bill that starts with a charge. And so wrongfully, you can see that most people are placing subject, object, verb not in the proper order per se, and most don't know what the subject is or what the objectiveness is about it, or the verb. But the more that you're practicing what really is excellent in somebody to be educating you more about syntax itself, how you communicate with other people, and your or anyone's ability to be able to use modal operator, the possibility, like a wonder, maybe we should or could, and questions which who really is about it haven't been discovered, you see. And so what's objective, where somebody doesn't know who is or I, it's very entertaining, basic. And so obviously really me and mine, where anybody is, it's like a name, me and mine, and a name, and it's a mind thing. Where would desire and fear be really if it wasn't for a mind thing itself? And so no thing is remained more in eye awareness, because you only have emptiness in your center point and clear, simple. And then transient, a transient perception doesn't exist. You've got more fact. And so I is more inside, and yet it's beyond the perception perception and sensation like we're talking about. It's an awareness of that perception or sensation, of sensation and perception itself. And so restless waters, you could say, really is related to only a wrongful reflection, sullied by what somebody's got within their eyes. That's all to do with desires that they have not looked at. Take some earnestness to actually look at all of it, to drop it away. And the same with all the unreasonable fears and things. And so not forgetting is a real mental state. When you've got some anabolic steroid, when you've got life hydrate, which is N-acetylenic acid, you've got these substances, it assists you to have easier ability to be able to forget, you see. And most people, if something happens, they'll do something 10,000 times themselves in their head, and they have to forgive themselves, not somebody else out there. But not forgetting was really a mental state, and it's a state of excellence where somebody has the ability to be able to forget. But if you've got a precognitive, which most everybody does, of course, long before you think about something is precognitive in the way that you go down and think about something. But, and so, what's precognitive was continue to be successive, more reframing the past, and that's what it is when you go back where somebody talks about the past, like reframing whatever it was about the past. But it doesn't pass for any event itself, and it can't. When it's transient perception, which is no fact and alternating memory, ongoing and experience only, which is an internal chatter, like somebody's got some string behind them and that's their identity, which really isn't identity at all. And so you and I, we really allowed to have been fully more receptive. We could have been able to have grown up this way as a child more. And then you can have a village and you can have a great nation. And now really is the moment where a void really is, and who's seeking agreement, you see, immediate with the adversary. So a wise woman or man always is seeking agreement with their adversary, and they're really good with that, versus people are creating adversarial positions and they don't seek agreement. And in the world, you can tell straight away if somebody's unity consciousness focused on seeking agreement straight away versus, no, we've got a condition, we've got a meat grinder, we're going to let this go on. But that's not common sense or common practice with each other. And to have a jubilation, which is one way that we all come together. The other way is by just recognising that we have a bit of a common fate with each other. But it's really no such thing really as not knowing, because no cause was where anybody only was forgetting. You have to have something that you would have had to have forgotten. That must be something you know. So what's the art of forgetting? And forgetting really is excellent when you've got proper serotonin levels and things. The brain alterative and the anabolic steroid and the life hydrate and the digestate. These are very things which help produce substances which gives you a great capacity to be able to forget. And so forgetting really is excellent. And when somebody is really good at that, they're forgetting the things that they should forget. And it's presupposes some knowing, of course, because you can't just forget. It's some prior knowing. And from the ground where excellence is, one can have forgotten to remember. And there's a lot of things that people should forget to remember, honest. And the state really of being beyond the memory and forgetting. See, so this I is really beyond memory and it's beyond forgetting. It doesn't have anything to do much with memory or forgetting. And it's above wakefulness, above dreaming, and above deep sleep. And this is the fourth state, you see. And this is what is coming to be activated because this is really what government is about. And but in the world where you can see corporations mixed in with the living.
Yep.
And not anybody having a proper ID as a real true ID. That's the title of you as a woman, not some occupation or something in your head, like a human. That's a condition in your head. An office in the government, like a son of a per. That's what in your head. These are selected things which is to do with a fiction, but not the title. The title is man or woman. And natural right flows in this, and that's the thing that should be in the document. But when it's not, it's sort of fraudulent, things going on that's quite fraudulent. And those are things that should be corrected and fixed up. And so to have any right, you only can have that because you've got title. But where title doesn't exist on a piece of paper, and the verb is doesn't either, and from doesn't. So where's the cause and effect there? It's really weak. It's all mostly all the words and everything. The people speaking is coming a lot more from fiction itself. And who's sort of a multi-national state that owns and has more money than a single nation, runs and owns CD Cowell, which is a criminal banking cartel of a one world order, and it's controlling opposition. And it is the opposition where things are. So, there's no transparency and no proper opposition per se until any of that. And chaos is just chaos, and order cannot come out of chaos. The chaos is chaos. What's non-random, like what we're talking about, is coming out of something very random, of course. But those people that controllers have been behind in the history, assassination of presidents and people and innocent. And you can see where, like, there's a tragedy going on in the world. You'll always see thousands of children also presence. And one would say that these are people who's not innocent. My God, how did somebody get off that somebody would say they are and somebody else isn't or something? It's an includedness of a multiple condition of genocide and murder that's gone on under a toolbox of a legal name for and common law trespass merely. And the EU, many opponents to this Zionistic sort of program which has been running at the moment, so many of those people sort of have been knocked off in the past. Lots of leaders of nations that was just really didn't care too much about this Zionistic propaganda and things, just got put by the wayside more or less. And the picture is huge. No one needs to see it any bigger more. It's really like where somebody is in the largest open air imprisonment, on the planet, and you've got millions just forced to be able to have left their home, and they would apparently go to some approved shelter. But what's with the life and where things are? And it's very significant, of course, because you've got a number of House representatives always, and there's so much conflict of interest. And how can you manage anything when you've got all this double oath taking and dual citizenship and what have you? It's really not a picture that it's about a religious organisation that everybody's up against, especially all the massive equipment. But there's a greater state as an overall plan, and to do that, still other nations have to be sort of dealt with as well in the plan. And on we go where people are, you can see better together with something is, and the world gets kind of split and divided. And so it's a divided and conqueredness, isn't it? Where something is, and that's not a proper program at all, can be stopped. The pen is mightier than the sword, and everybody is under an agentic state. And it's only a matter that somebody can correct the proper contractedness for things to be proper, which isn't sort of like a check and balance of the proper government more, so which is the government. And so that's the enemy is really where the people haven't performed our proper civic duties, and we can stand by and see crimes like Rwanda that went on, and 750,000 people just sort of genocided over a short period of time. And it's because people apparently, messages go out there that everybody's being pledged to have to die in the state of some other foreign nation. 1948, of course, where you're looking at Israel, for instance, and it gets its independence from Palestine, more or less. But the whole thing was set up as a take and a grab itself, and it never not a prison refugee camp. How can anybody say that they're not actually Palestinian in their own being, where things are? And it's surreal, really, where we're witnessing the state in Palestine and families, and where's the media in all of it? I can think back to Cambodia myself and Pol Pot and the killing fields and things, and how the media was complicit to allow that to be. You can see in studies, forensically, that that's so. And you've got a monopolised media under C.B. Cower genociding all, and it's so that you've got trillions of missing dollars and nobody gives a what, which we do, and auditing the Pentagon has just lost lots of dollars. So it's. it's a land grab by multinational. And like I said, it's just beyond what an individual person could have. And so liberty really is where we're all equal, not where something else is going on. But where energy really reserves is really actual, and you've got a lot of polarized narrative behind everything. You've got all this 9/11 type of stuff going on, don't you? Like 10/7 as well. And so it's a searching for tunnels and Hamas, which was set up by the same people. And finally, everybody knew 2005 under al Shifa there was tunnels and stuff in more command centres back then, and that was IDF done. And now when they look and say, well, nothing was there apparently, but the hospital was bombed. And there's just too much contradictedness in all things. How can you have proper governance when you don't have proper transparency, you see, and you've got to monopolise media? And I think most of the world is sort of really waking up to all of this. But if the UN is run by Stevie Carroll, which it is, and allows the act of war, which went on like the Nord Stream pipe, which has got sabotaged and things, and nothing was ever investigated about it. So they didn't want to do that, you see, nor did they give a crap about getting on where Rwanda was, and the genocide went. And so we stand by and look and see, but how weak really is it that the UN cannot have any relation proper, and no one, none of these alphabet land can, but you and I can, you see? Yes, as we're the people. And so that's what you want to stick with. There you go. Mm. Yeah.
Is something that, is it natural that I can, is it something that I'm going to be learning about? Or is it something that comes about as, living more naturally?
Well, a mechanism exists for you or I to use that causes orderliness and gives you to be able to be in your full totality, where somebody's got rapport with another group, they're going to be able to perform things. And you and I, we can do things better where we have rapport and we're really good at pacing and leading. Where listening is where anyone is. Lots of skill level exists like what we're talking about, which is in meditation and eye awareness. Eye awareness really is an outward, onward, lived, sitting, living, walking meditation. It's not something that you go somewhere and you turn it on. This is really not a good instruction. That last one. It's better that you've got something that's going to be, that you're focused, and like a lot of people could be focused on, some icon on their screen that they look for and things, and that somebody's modelling excellence, and their meditation is they're looking for excellence where they are and finding people that's like this and modelling things. This is really a proper meditation. It's really onward, outward, and it's picking up everything. And you're learning 30 things a day. That's a proper meditation. But somebody's not really learning anything in the day. That's not going to be too much of any good meditation at all. Why shouldn't we really be striving to be more unified in ourselves? And so you're integrated, you're congruent, you're associated more, and you're bringing things more into your first attention. And that's just going to help you if you have a little bit of this. The fourth estate is it's got an orderliness to itself. So, with a grand jury does. This is what all of us do. It's from time-wornness of our patterns that comes to be time-worn successfully. And these are things which can't be broken. So, for instance, you can't put the living and then tell everybody that they are fictional and dead and they're only going to be Chattel in a court. That's absolutely sinful. It's ridiculous. It's wrong. It's irrational. It's illogical. Nor can you have a system which is Ponzi schemed out and it's pyramidal like the hills, and someone is getting paid out, but most people then get to suck from everything they have, and it only can continue on because it requires war to annihilate people to continue on with the system itself, which is an ancient system of pledging, which is really completely wrong. How can anybody have any sovereignty or any control over their own selves where you've got a condition which something is outside and it's not set up proper, you see? So one would have to learn about that, but there's various things which you could see that, for instance, if $9,557 or something was owed last year for just vaccine, and that's every taxpayer owes that, and that was what was spent just for that. It's like, but did you care for that? Did you get the received amount of monies in your life for that, and how much energy was that worth in relation to everything else you did, and where is it now? Was it an asset or was it not an asset? Was it just money that 2% of people didn't take anything and the big poof Pfizer, and it's all been designed to collapse anyway because it's not to make a profit or anything, but they sure did. Everybody cleaned up and then it will be just bottomed out because the big poof Pfizer has been set up just to be broken because everybody can see that the material is toxin and things, you see. It's not ecological. And so everybody be compensated and you republic the debt, you see. So this, what we're talking about is the fourth estate. The fourth estate is, do you know what's above your own control of yourself, which is government, and this is the ether, and something is natural. And the more that we focus on actually doing what it is that's natural, simple, we're living simply and others can simply live. You don't have a third party interloper anymore in life. You see? Yeah. So being aware that's part of it all the government and governance itself, the chain of command that exists, which is from the people down to the government. Yes, that's the chain of command. Yeah. So it's a great area, and it's about plasma and organs, more of plasma, and fifth dimensional structure like a father or someone who's alpha omega, because you've got the full deck, you've gone the full distance, you can see what the final strike is, sort of thing, and everything in a set. And so from alpha to omega, it's sort of really the alpha omega more within ourselves. Yes, and so this is really instruction for all of us to get busy and to help clear up things that we can. And it's self-easy. The pen is mightier than the sword, and it only takes 26 of us, more or less. That's all. And so it's what should take place, you see? Yes, and this is what's going to happen. It's happening. Yeah.
I really feel hopeful after we speak. I can't help but relate to my ongoing experience, and I think of the sins that I've committed. But I'm hopeful, when I get these products that you're sending me, the brain alterative.
Well, yeah, the brain alterative is major because serotonin, gastrin, secretin, acetylcholine esterase, dopamine, serotonin, all of these neurotransmitters are so vital, and you need substance to help create those. And then you've got DNA and templated on silica, and it assists to help the body to produce these neurotransmitters. So it's sort of not something that somebody has to take all the time, but it triggers and gives you the enzymatic feedback loop to be able to create those things yourself. And in the meantime, it really does give you a great capacity to really be basically more in unity consciousness. And so all of a sudden, like your heart is guiding your tongue more and things. And then you realise, like you were saying, that all behaviours, no matter good or bad, it's not you, which that's true, it isn't. You see, so it's only a mind thing, like you were saying. But the more that somebody realises they're not a mind thing, they're not a mental set, a mind, a state of mind. No, you're not a state of mind. Being in eye awareness is stellar space itself as 50% of yourself. The other 50% is just simply care and matter, and that means am. And so those are things which are certain. Everything else really isn't certain. After that, there wasn't anything else to have to know too much. And a lot of stuff gets dropped. And so you don't have to have knowing to have awareness, you see. Lots of people have so much knowing, but none of it. Awareness, and many people are just running around showing and going to a show, but there's nothing memorable about it because there's really nothing that's interesting very much and pleasurable. If something's interesting and pleasurable, it's going to be more memorable. Yeah. So these are things, Lukey, which is really about the fourth estate.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joe. We have a couple of comments. Grady Matt says hello, and you changed his life.
Oh, I'm so glad that something that's within someone, that the checkerboard is like a stick, but it could burn all the other sticks, you see. But all kids should have good, good news and be the bearer more of good news, because something exists which is the solution to the things where we are. That's positive economic inductance, not negative economic inductance, and debt, continuous. When you live smooth, it should be really about a real reset, and that reset is about your rights and about title and natural rights which flow from this, and having an equity interest and government and eye awareness is with the people, which is above government. Yes.
Paris says happy day, happy face.
Oh, right. We've got some great people in Australia, and they're really doing great work that relates to the fourth estate. And then we've got people in Canada also interested. Of course, we've got people in New York that are setting themselves up and underway where things are. This is like a mission. When you're in a rainbow way, you don't stop your mission, and you never leave anybody behind. And yeah, exactly, Steve. Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, totally. I can feel great energy from people who are big, good, solid, yeah, and so I think it's pretty amazing because, like, I think I remember when I met you, you were so excited by it, and I think I was a bit conflicted, and I think that's amazing, honest, because you knew you were anything that was conflicted. I think that's really good. But anyway, courage, most people could have more courage, couldn't they? Yes. And bravery and good courage, yes. Anyway, yeah, amazing, mate. Well, anyway, we'll call in as we go, eh? And love to do a bit of live stream with you and love to say good happy day to everybody. Anyway, love you, mate. We'll catch up to each other later. Love you, mate. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, mate. Love you, mate. Bye-bye. All right. Yeah. So it's the change occurs more as sisters all come together. And get the core of what this is, because that happens more natural. It comes from empathics, and everybody gets involved, and it sort of gets triggered more from this. Yes, basically. Anyway, I'm just about running out of my gas here, and hopefully we've given everybody with something to consider. And you could learn more by listening to articles and looking into the pub bones and this sort of thing, and coming back to your live stream, and sometimes participating, listening right firsthand, straight up here in what we're recording. Spooky. Anyway, mate, love you, mate. And pick up for everybody. Oh, go and go a question.
Before you go, if you have a second.
Yeah. You do.
I have
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody in my chat was asking, Brady Matthew says, what techniques could you give to enhance control of your words for more positive outcomes?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
giving a book.
Well, the tortoise always taught someone to be on a path with a heart. And you have to look to see, does that path have a heart? If it does, good. It's such a quick and easy thing, isn't it? And you could ask yourself, did the information that you had inside yourself, did it come from within you, which generally it didn't. 90% of the time it actually came from somebody else, and one sort of mind reading and thinking thoughts like that. So one clears away 90% of all their chatter, 10% is left, and one then asks themselves, oh, that comes from me, that internal chatter, and that was my voice. and what's the positive value of it. And if nothing is positive, it's dropped. And so that's a quick, fast way just to be dropping of the things of an internal dialogue. So somebody's more living in the moment. This is really what I recognize. And we're modeling
Looks like the last one.
proper excellence where anything is for leadership. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Job. I really appreciate you taking the time to connect in. I would love to do it again in a future time when you have a moment.
Yeah, come on. Love you, mate. Talk to you soon. It's a great practice, mate. Have a good
Have a great Bye.
presence, you know, where you are or anybody is. I think leadership really is extraordinary, isn't it? It doesn't really ever get more deeper, more involved, more involvement, that is, than where somebody really in the leadership style they've got more of a perfect attachment. It means actually that you've really got to get more deeper involved in anything that you do. Because you can't so much be attached when outcomes, and because of it, then you're really more deeply involved, in the mission where somebody is. And a mission which really has a heart path, a path with a heart. So anybody can look and see and examine something quick and easy. They could see unity consciousness, or they could see, frozen logos. The path of the is really great for people to look into, to read a little more about this. But eye awareness really is where somebody's really more surrendered to control, where such is sort of an inner self, elusive type of outcome. Yet, it's interesting because, you and I and everybody is living more a fast-paced, chaotic world. No one wants to ever have got taken over, because you can see how all that is, where somebody could be swept up, for instance, by being like blind or something, and how power could have been given away where somebody was attached. And attachment really is where somebody likes and they want, or they've got some fixed idea, and then it sort of really can not necessarily be as social as one would or should be. Of course, winning friends and influencing people. So in leadership, it really is the desire, which is to have cleared away wrongful fear, and to not be where desire is, but yet to have taken time more to be in a study more of eye awareness, where I is sort of empty and absolute and is simply caring, and that's something which one can know, and everything else, maybe it's not as important for somebody to know anything else, because knowing isn't necessary, because somebody really can have a great intuitive sense of everything, and a compelling attractiveness where someone is who's really got good charm. It's something which inspires more devotedness and lovableness, of course, which is something more divine. And this is sort of real power. And so detachment, for those listening in on eye awareness really is about the emptiness, as stellar as space is, and is the body, and simple care meaning a matter. What's the matter? And after that, that's all that's needed. Somebody's got their mindlessness to be in the moment more, versus not really being associated to the present like one can be. When anybody looks at any issue, they could look at it more where affection is now. They are going to the heart part, the heart can drive the time more and more. So detachment, perfect detachment more is the first view, which really is the highest virtue, which took several virtues, just like love or humbling yourself. But perfect detachment is the most godlike virtue, though. And so naturally, this is something which started within ourselves naturally, and doesn't have to be like, it's just like modifying its own model where somebody's clear going to fight because it's been an ongoing fueling of many wars to have kept the coffers fueled that system, which no. And today called Catastrophical Post-Traumatic Stress. Where somebody's really been inducted under the big Nick, you see, agenda. And that's a banker's making sense of world, but not this world, like what we're talking about. So somebody just visiting up there and looking at things which is already worked out, correct the things which is irregular. The world is really full of, like, what, if you look into this word, what's called a surrogate. I mean, in other words, the government becomes a womb, people to jump into, and all sorts of groups might as well, all body politics and not the real thing, like a surrogate spousal relation. And government can't take over the role of father or your mother, let's say. But somebody grew up and they had only influence-ness was a surrogate spousal relation, and passed on to the government, passed on to all the media and things, modelling various things of having unnecessary fear and attachment. And that unnecessary fear and attachment sort of really comes to be sensed as people can feel not so social about that. And so abandonment then comes along, and that's really right. And so the fear and distrustedness. And one could see all of that going on domestic and international affairs. If you raise a healthy child, you can raise a healthy village, you can raise a healthy nation. And it's a policy really where government should be, is, of course, yes, departments could have been just weaponised, couldn't they? And would anybody suppose that something could have occurred like that? Only someone with the power or a group that could have, would have, but otherwise, how could it be? It's just not necessarily inside anyone's consciousness that something could be going on like that. But we the people really have been put upon by governments being weaponised around the globe, and that goes on and has been right from the get-go until that stopped, of course. And yet, you know, it all done from the BC and Social Security bonds and things fraud by common law trespass and legal name fraud, and by you and I not having a real true ID that where title is upheld, and you're only having a title as an occupation, like a drive hall, for instance, and that's an occupation, not that's your ID. You're not a commercial drive hall. So the DMV never was to have stopped someone from being able to go from point A to B as a travel hall, and being in your own vehicle, which that's not a job which is where the government is, and there are something commercial which is an occupation of the drive hall. So yeah, just putting everybody under a capacity of being a drive hall so that they would have a bridged ride. And these are sorts of things which has gone on to just to control people, and then you can see a lot of overreach. Because where you have enforcement, you see recruitment, don't you? And where friendly recruitment is, lots of people want to join into that. But when you've got just a SWAT vehicle, ripping into a neighbourhood with guns drawn and what have you, and doors busted down and what have you, you're not going to get too many people wanting to jump into that. But then you're only going to get a certain type of person, aren't you? So it's sort of like an advertising, isn't it? And you can see wherever you've got positive experiences of consistency where parenting is for government, but otherwise you've got the negative experience and you've got a great deep inconsistency, haven't you, that we could look at and see, and that could be corrected, and where's the sister state that does this? That's what we're talking about, is to be activated. And so, where it isn't and has been, you've really got to cause unnecessary anxiety. You've got a real deeper anxiousness of attachment where people are. You've got a lot of sort of disorganised types of attachment on this, and characterised, like you can see in the media and stories and things that people can say, they're basically a hypersensitivity of anxiety and avoiding any proper relationships. And so it's really a domestic affair that plays out where any international arena is, and all is really controlled in the moment by civic power, I think underneath civic power, where you've got really not proper faith, which we should have, which is the real estate, which is the fortress state, of course, which is above the court, and it's correcting what needs, where government has to experiment to protect people. And so all this will really agree, you and I, where we could acquire more awareness, and we could be reading what's unnecessary here, and where you read the eyewitness book when you work on verifying your maps and it's on Amazon at the moment. And then other articles that anybody can go to. And the work, you basically really an eyewitness, you really developing a state of being, which is not a state of mind, but a state of being, which is more perfect attachment as an ongoing outlet with cheating walking meditation, not turned on or off, for instance, but some time or space. But a great tenet, of course, like what we were talking about in the show, really is a work which is allowing your anybody to recognise and have a great capacity to be able to isolate and clear away any internal chatter, that goes on so quiet and together. Somebody can really talk for how relaxed your shoulders are, and how relaxed your tummy is, and how quite the breath is, which going to keep you more of a lot and be more fully functional. Anyway, if you're growing really perfect attachment rather than growing detachedness from desire where things are and unnecessary feelings, or most people find more ways to be fulfilled when you don't have all of that. Suddenly you've got room, and it sort of behooves you to look to where needs and have turned whatever that was into something which is more of a perfect detachment within yourself. It's like the gluten becomes a substance which ends up like carbon being a diamond versus just remaining as graphene, in fact. So you're really learning in eye awareness more how important this really room is inside, and to get this empty space and simply being hands, but just caring, that's all. And after that, once in the moment, you can be responsive, you could be receptive, you could easily be able to point out the other point of view, and where does that other point of view come from, or any view come from, because you've got a sense of a referential index and a balance about this, both internal and external, as well as your orientation, internal and external. And so this is sort of describing something to you more balanced, and it's more living more perfect attachment as a virtue. And so if you look where things are compelling, and there's attractiveness to a sense of sun and an inspiration, people are inspired more and devoted. It's really more things that divinely conferred, isn't it? And power is very much like this, isn't it, mate? And talent. And it's really one's personal magic and their touch, where leadership is where people look on and they can see a great magnetic charm and appeal, and it's divinely inspired. I mean, it's how not many times you've got knocked down or moved or someone, but how quick and smart you are to be stood right back up again. That's what I thought was very remarkable when I first saw you, was how unbelievable what you can say back up. Like, man. And some people, they could be a bit more excited or just be empty, where situations specific could be more stressed from but remaining empty and cool, more in the moment. And one really has a great play on what strength is versus, where somebody can have not looked at where weaknesses, which we well understood, but personally, privately, individually, and clears away those things. So social circumstance really is like driving everything more towards you for whatever is your outcome versus some personal weakness that would have been pervasive, but
That's not good.
stubbornly not really dealt with because someone really didn't have a teacher or weren't following some path. And so the biggest condition that a lot of people have is called anosognosia, which means some of you really don't even know what the circumstance is of the condition, and that's the biggest condition probably. It's called anosognosia. But confidence and optimism, being optimistic looks mostly things could work out, sometimes it doesn't, but it's better that somebody could be very more with confidence and optimism because it's really influential where someone is, and natural is you're applying things more from common sense, from common understanding, and it's really a master class in being able to clear up disinformation, and that's a lot of what this work is about, of people that's interested in this. Anyway, I guess to cap just a bit of what we said, and if it's okay, I can I've got to deal with something just a little bit of a moment in time, and I can call you back again. We can like in 10 minutes. I think I might need just all. And then I can call you back and we can talk a bit more about and maybe another topic or something. But just to recap, I think most people could really say that negative experiences where something was really inconsistent in governance or things are supposed to be going on, or parenting, really could cause unnecessary anxiety and cause them anxious types of attachedness to various things in life, pervasive and not dealt with, and I've observed really disorganised types of attachment and a hypersensitivity to various things having been. And so what happens there to faith, honour and trust, which is what happens when you raise as a child and you're told basically people are good. So then you're looking at everything differently. And that's the presence, I'd say, leadership, which is really extraordinary. It's one's really deeper involvement because you're more perfectly attached, and because of it to the outcome, you really have got to be more deeper involved and more fully, totally involved and absorb more where an outcome is. But soft, you keep an eye over things, and something happens of itself because it's just nature that causes that to be. Yeah. So anyway, let me give you a call back, mate, or just in, give me 10 minutes and I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Love you, mate. Cheers, cheers. Okay, I'll be good. It's a good moment.
Always.
I can call you back. Yeah? Yeah. It's so amazing, of course, when you raise a child and good parentedness and things, you raise a healthy village and you raise a healthy nation, don't you? It'd be a pretty much asymmetric warfare. There's concepts where children and innocent people could be just victims in someone's narrative is something where somebody's really not home where that is, isn't it? But things that are going on can be out of what most people could think. How do they affect something and how did it hurt? And those are things which, if somebody wants to, they could look into this work and they can hear what could be within is what is a strange attractor, which we're all drawn to because some charges exist which needs to be discharged, and when charges are discharged, that's a new reset, and that's positive economic inductance, not negative economic inductance. In one's own self, and you're modelling what's natural about having proper immunity within our body. And so what causes attachment where something is to all kinds of habits and stuff really is where more attachment was and trauma was bonded with that. And so then fear came along of abandonment. But healthiness really is yours and my emotional availability to remain open. And in improvement, internationally, someone really should be expecting a child more to play a similar role. Otherwise, you've really got a sort of an ancestral emotional damaged condition where people, as children, grow up to be adults, and then they wander around and they are totally insensitive in what they do, and they can bully others and things. But all unilateral, meaning one-sidedness is there in the brain often, and any contractedness where somebody got underneath something which was just unilateral also, like legal name for them. That's a fictional name versus the use of a real name, which really should be a real true name because it's lawful you use that, not a legal fictional name, and a son of a per, or a daughter of a per, or a per daughter, or a per son, is an office. It's an orifice in the government. If you look in Black's Law Dictionary, and that's a corporation. You can't have a naturalised corporation. So somebody only can be given an idea as a corporation only, you're just the same as a piece of furniture, the same lift. And that's fascism, where you're mixing up the living with the dead, which, it's really an officer where anyone is really is a subclass of person, like a judge or something. Yet not a son of a per, but in a different class. And a per son is somebody who's the son of a per, or a daughter of a per, or per daughter, and that all those words mean you're an infant proceeding, which means that you're dead. In the head sort of thing, it's called a civilis mortis, and then somebody's judged as a Phyllis Miller, which is obviously you wouldn't be able to use the law maybe to get yourself out of a wet paper bag. That's what that means. And then also a Phyllis Miller. And so a Phyllis Miller is someone who could be considered as somebody not having any certain parentage. And so, these are names, and nobody's a name, you see? And so somebody looks at anybody and they give them a name, and after that, 3 strikes and you're out. Because I was just looking at somebody who they obviously have to control, which the system was set up to do that. So it's sort of a lot of victimless crime, wrong. Never was a crime before, all of a sudden that is wrong, that's wrong. Never a crime wasn't a crime. And so, corpus delicti is running behind everything. And when somebody's looking at what the meaning of that is, yet what happens when you, as a couple, more, you're recruited, if you look at in law enforcement and families engaged in law enforcement, you could look at how ATS was put together in New York City from the civil service list, and then you've got people who are charged up to take kids away, and what happens when those are people who could have more power suddenly than the police ever did or something. Today it's not right that you could, of course, never was, that a court order would have had to be to have removed a child. But in days gone by in New York City, that's not the case, is it? That's what happened to me. And does anything get put back after something has gone on like that? It's like you don't get any recalls because someone did the wrong thing today, and they don't say, please bring that washing machine back in because we need to fix something about it. It's really what happens when a stranger is just appointed to act, as a prudent parent would